Hello, thanks for joining us for this week's Talking Europe on France 24. Now, as COVID-19 infection rates head upwards around this continent, with several countries bringing in fresh restrictions on our freedom of movement, there is a sense that Europe is not entirely out of the woods of this pandemic just yet. Now, Greece's government is particularly concerned. It relies on tourism for a fifth of its economic output. On Wednesday of this week, Greece's Prime Minister Kikilias proposed making a booster shot of a COVID-19 vaccine a condition of free travel around the EU for over 60s. Well, to discuss this and many other issues, I'm sure, my guest today is Greece's Minister for Tourism and former Health Minister, Vasilis Kikilias. Thank you very much for being with us, Mr. Kikilias.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
I'd like to start with that bit of news from the last few days that I just mentioned. Your Prime Minister proposing making a booster shot a condition of free travel around the EU for over 60s. Can you tell us more about that idea?
Of course. Well, you remember that Kyriakos Mitsotakis was a pioneer 1 year ago, insisting on digital passports for traveling within the European Union. It was correct, and I think it was compatible with everybody, with all member states, and it helped us travel and it helped tourism, of course. So seeing scientific approaches about the third dose and countries one after the other regulating that, I think that it's a strong message towards the right direction. I think that we should insist on that and make travel safer. And actually that was the key about travelers in the last 1 or 2 years within the pandemic. Safety is the main concern.
The European Commission has been famously quite hesitant, though, to support any kind of curbs on freedom of movement in the past. And of course, the European Commission has no say in health policy, which vaccination, of course, falls under. Why do you think the Commission and indeed your European Union neighbours could support this move?
Well, I think it's a logical move, and I think our policies should be always under a framework of logic and common sense. We want to protect our travellers, want to issue safe travel and make sure that it applies for everybody. It's simple, it's understandable, and you see governments one after the other, they're worried about this peak of the pandemic. It's not the first one. Of course, we have the very, very important weapon of vaccination. And since we have it, we should take advantage of it. It's so simple.
And just looking at the infection rate in Greece more generally, numbers have been rising quite sharply in the last couple of weeks in Greece, as they have in several other European countries. What do you put this down to?
Well, listen, we're taking measures for that, but this is the pandemic. It's a global, huge crisis of public health. Last one, 100 years ago, you remember the Spanish flu. But once again, we have to deal with it with a proper scientific way and understand what the needs of our citizens are. So people have already undertaken a lot these last 2 years. The ones that get vaccinated, it's proper to say that you can partially help them go back to their normal life and try to convince with reasonable scientific data the rest of our citizens to also get vaccinated. The more vaccination, the better the economic status, the better the traveling, the better the psychology, entertainment, tourism, and aspects of economic and social life. So this is understandable. We totally comprehend the difficulties and the tiredness, but we've got to keep on pushing forward and we've got to keep on going.
Yeah, the vaccination rate in Greece, the most recent figure I have is almost 63% of the total population vaccinated. That does put Greece slightly below the European Union average. As we've seen in some other European countries, vaccination's been quite controversial for a lot of people. There have been protests against things like COVID passes and vaccinations. However, in order to try and boost the vaccination rate, Austria, for example, making vaccination mandatory as of February the 1st. Is it possible that your government could consider mandatory vaccination as well, particularly, as we've said, given the implications for the tourism industry and for visitors to Greece?
Right now, we're not there. What I want to say is that we have created, and we're very proud of that, a great vaccination program, digital vaccination program with respect to the civilians. And I'm very, very happy that one country after the other. They try to copy the main parts of the framework of how we're organized. And I'm happy to say that with the measures that we have taken the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've seen a boost at the rendezvous for the first shot, so that's newcomers, but also for the third shot. So yes, Europe is under pressure. We totally understand that. Governments are trying to take more measures, but I'm optimistic, and I can see that we're going to pass through the curve, and it's going to be a better situation for us after some weeks. And like previously said, and it's very, very important, tourism is 25% of our GDP, directly or indirectly. It's our heavy industry, is a very important part of our economy. So we're investing on that, and we're taking all the necessary measures.
2019 was indeed a bumper year for Greek tourism, and then, as you say, the pandemic struck, and 2020 was quite a disastrous year. How much have you been able to recover in 2021 with the issues, of course, as we know, of third countries outside the EU in the main not allowing their citizens to travel into Europe, for example?
Well, thank you for asking that, because actually, yes, 2020 was a very hard year for everybody, traveling and tourism. And I'm happy to say we bounced back in 2021, because we were estimating 5 to 6 billion earnings from tourism, and we're way above 10 billion, and the year hasn't even finished yet. And yes, we do have tourists in Athens, in Crete, in Rhodos, still in Kamos, and we're happy to say that we're campaigning for winter tourism too. Yes, Greece will campaign for winter tourism. So we're happy that we're back on the saddle, and we're very optimistic for 2022. And of course, we're taking, once again, all the measures needed in order for travelers to come to Greece and feel safe and enjoy the unique experience of our touristic product.
This year in 2021, of course, there was an additional challenge, a disaster for certain parts of Greece. The hottest temperatures for over 30 years recorded in parts of Greece in August, and devastating wildfires, as I'm sure our viewers remember, particularly near Athens, on the islands of Evia, on Rhodes, places we all know as holiday destinations. When would you predict that these places, Evia, Rhodes, will be able to recover to where they were before these wildfires?
Well, Greek administration has taken all the measures for fast-track decisions, plans and implementation in order to help people in these areas. Reality is that all Mediterranean countries face pressure during the summer with fires, and I'm happy to say, and very thankful to all the rest of the European countries for the cooperation and the support. It was a big support this summer. We're very, very happy and very thankful for that. And of course, we're getting organized for next year.
Of course, tourism and particularly travel, a big source of carbon emissions, a big focus on that, the recent COP26 summit, of course. Your government's promised to make Greece a leader in sustainable tourism. Just wondering how much you see there's a paradox in trying to bring back big numbers of tourists and trying to be sustainable. How is that achievable?
It is achievable and it is doable. If you Google, you see Astipala is already a green island. And Halki, also Prime Minister, was there with me some weeks ago, totally supported from renewable energy. And this is a big plan that we're willing to implement gradually in all our islands. We have a respect for nature, respect for the environment, and we do understand that it's number one trend between travelers. Respect the environment and the unique scenery in Greece and all over the world. And no, they're not contradicted. You just have to have a plan and you have to implement it. It's a very, very, very important thing for us, for our children, and for the generations to come. And we should all respect that and put all our effort into it.
Just got time for one brief final question. An important issue around Europe, of course, migration. Of course, Greece has seen and continues to see a high level of irregular migration. We've got the ongoing situations in Belarus, migrants dying trying to cross the English Channel. There is still no EU 27 migration pact. One has been on the table since last year from the European Commission. Is Greece's government supporting this? Are you pushing for your EU neighbours to join in with it?
Well, listen, we faced a lot of challenges the last months, and we're able to support and defend our northern borders. These are European borders, and our maritime borders are also European borders. And we totally think that we should have a coherent and compact policy, European policy on migration. It doesn't seem that this is the case yet, but we strongly push forward for that. And I think that everybody understands it now. It's necessity. Mm-hmm. The countries of the north, the countries of the south. If you have pressure of illegal immigration, eventually you got pressure throughout the European Union. So I understand there's a lot of discussion, and there are a lot of policies on the table. But at the end of the day, we respect human life. We are humanitarians. We definitely want to help people that are running away from areas and countries under war, civil war, and we should protect them. But we are a country and we are a continent. We are not just a place. So we have borders. The borders should be respected, and there should be an organized, common framework of policies that the Europeans should all abide to.
All right, Vasilis Kikilias, thank you very much for speaking to us here on Talking Europe.
Thank you very much.
And thanks to you for watching as well. Do stay with us for part 2 of the programme in a couple of minutes' time.